Products has now developed a new XL ink cube refill system for the new Canon Pixma MG7720. It's going to come with all the parts and pieces required to install the system. With the system, you're going to get a bracket, hose bracket, main hose bracket. You're going to also get an outside little bracket, some replacement gaskets, which you must put in. They're going to replace the Canon gaskets, and the system. Now I've got the printer already set up. I've put the Canon cartridges in there. I've been testing them. I only run a few sheets because you always want to use the setup cartridges that come with the printer, but don't run a lot. Pull them out, save them. You can put them back in the same orange clips that the system cartridges come in. Really, it'll store them and hold them. So if you ever need to do some troubleshooting, it's good to hang on to them rather than go to the store and spend another $80 to $100 to buy a set. So don't run them out. I don't advise you do that. Okay, now I brought the cartridges over, then I unplugged the printer because we're going to put the gaskets in. We're just going to show you step by step how to install everything. Now always look at the instructions, the photo instructions that we supply, because sometimes we make a change and it won't be on the video. So there's the main hose bracket and little hose bracket. Now here's what I recommend before getting started. Have a pair of needle nose. Very, very important, a paper clip like this. Before you install the system, you have to have this, okay? And then a pair of cheap rubber gloves if you don't want to get ink on your fingers. That's the things that you have to supply. Everything else comes with the system. So now what I'm going to do now is take off the packaging, and then I'm going to balance the chambers by laying it down like this because it's been shipped, and we're taking all the ink out of the isobaric chamber. Follow the instructions. It'll show you a lot better than what I just did in the video, because it depends on, sometimes you have to put it down, sometimes you have to put it up, but pay attention to it, what's in the instructions. Now I want to point this out. This is a very special hose. We developed this for this printer alone because Canon gives you no room in here for hose, but we're going to show you how we can do it, and then you can be able to close that lid right down. It's pretty good. You'll like it. Now, buying an ink system is not for everybody. Some people buy it and then they don't use it or whatever. You don't want to do that. And now if you're going to print every day, every few days, then yes, I recommend that you look into the system. If not, we have awesome refill kits up there with our own cartridges with COC smart chips that you don't need a resetter. You just fill them up, the ink levels go back up. Same thing is going to happen on these right here. You're not going to have to take them out. The ink level is going to go back up. See, the printer doesn't know you're going to have ink on the outside. Doesn't know that. Okay, now I pulled it out. I got a pair of needle nose, and I'm going to reach into there right in the center there. See? I'm going to be able to pull that right down. It's going to come right on down and pull it out. So just take your time. Okay, now okay, there you go. So I slid it right out. Now I'll put the print head on a piece of paper towel, so then I can go in there and show you how to take those gaskets out. Print head put on paper towels here. Now you can see I already put the gaskets in. If you look the way the Canons come out like that. I use the needle nose, I take them out, then I put the gaskets that we give you, which they come in a little package like this. You can put them in. Now this is also a way you can take that print head to the sink and wash it out with water, clean it. If you should ever have one that dries out on you because you haven't used it in a while. I wouldn't do it now, it's fine. But I just wanted to show this in the video. Very simple to do. Then you have to just come over here, and I get it on a, same way it came out, on that little bit of an angle. It slides right in. It's going to slide right in, and it's going to fall. Actually, look at that, it went right on in. All by itself. So I can get a close-up shot here, see? Now I can close this. That's it. It's all set. Now I can go put the system cartridges in. Off. I'm going to flip it over just like that. There again, I have a paper napkin to lay it on, because there is going to be some ink that's going to dribble out of that cartridge, that's for sure. And then I have a paper towel. Now, I'm not going to remove anything yet. Remember the paper clip I told you to get? What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that hose and put the paper clip on. So that stops any extra ink from leaking out. Got that on. Got the gaskets in. It's over. Now what I'm going to do is take this, the black or the tape that we put on the bottom. Take that off. You won't need that anymore. But these orange clips, after you take them off, the exit area right here, it's going to be a little ink. You want to take your paper towel and just dab it so it doesn't leak all over you. Now if you see air in the hose, that's okay. Don't go worried about hose and think you got to prime it. It comes already pre-primed for you. So don't do that. We give you priming syringes and tips for later down the road if you forgot to fill the tanks up and you ran them out of ink. Well, then you're going to need them. So whatever you do, don't throw them away. Okay? So you're going to, with the index finger up front, I unlatch it from the front tab. I do this one at a time, and then I take it off. Now watch right there. Right there is where some of the ink could be dribbling out. That's when you want to use a paper towel. This one looks okay, so I'm going to do all the rest the exact same way. The front comes off first, then this slides through the clip. So you want to slide it through the clip after you unlock it. It'll slide right on off, see? There. Right off the clip. And then if you see a little ink there, just take the paper towel and just touch it. Don't push on it, just touch it. Okay, now I've got all the orange clips off. I've got it kind of like on a little angle here on the side of the paper tray. That holds it and it doesn't seem to want to dribble out too much ink. Then here's the orange clips. Pay attention to the color. Then you can put the Canon cartridges back in. Okay, I'll show you that. Now remember, the clip always goes in first. So it gets right in there and it comes down and clips up on the front. Now on the Canon cartridges, there's a little tip on each side. So it requires a little bit more work to slip it in there. But you want to go in, hook in there, and then come down. Okay, now I had to get those little tips to fit in there. So I just pushed it down in there. See, and then I should be able to lock it. There you go. Snapped it right in. You could save these cartridges for 6 months to a year, as long as you got them in the orange clip. Straight up like that. So you can do all the rest of them the same way. You always save these orange clips should you ever need to. Okay, now here's the cartridges back over here. Now, what I'm going to do right here, right behind here, I got my index finger. There's a little catch. I'm pushing down on it. Push that. Do the next thing on the other side. There. See that? And release them. So I can pick them up and then tuck them. So I get a little extra room here, a little more room up here. Now I'll be able to take these cartridges actually in one hand, flip them upside down, and just set them in there. Take your time. If you have to let out more hose, you know, bring the thing around, you can. You're not going to take that off yet. Now remember, that paper clip stays on. It stays on till you get them all in. So line them up. Take your time here. Just take your time. Don't try to jam it in there. If you notice what I'm doing is I'm taking my time. You want the front to go in. It's got to go in and then lock down. If you get the front in first and you lock the back in, that's a nightmare to try to wiggle it back out again. So that's what I'm saying. Take your time. I can feel when it's in. So I feel it go in. See, that clicked in. Clicked in. Okay? I'm clicking them all in. I make sure it's in first. Otherwise, you might get a signal that says that it's not in. Take my time. There you go. They're all clicked in. Okay, now they're clicked in. I'll bring the tank around. Now, regardless of what tank you get, I mean, we have a lot of different designs. We're always coming out with new ones. So the tank is not important. It's what I just showed you, putting the system in. So regardless of what tank, we have rocket bottles, we have all kinds of tanks, executive systems. We just have new ones like the ink tower, the black ink tower. So that makes no difference when it comes to installing. It's all the same way. This stuff doesn't change. Now in the kit we gave you the main hose bracket. Now I'm going to shine some light up here because this is where it can get tricky. So that's why I'll get some light down here, put some light on it. Each system we make a special hose bracket for different models like the MG7820, 6821, slightly different but the principle is the same. This has a little notch. The little notch is going to go right in this area right there. See, like that. I'm not going to take the tape off till I show you. What that's doing, it's causing that bracket to be put in on slight angle. See? Just like that. See that? Taking my time. That's why we added this little piece. So if you notice it, it's on an angle. And then if you look in there, you see where the notch is, goes into that one right there. Like that, see? Now I didn't take the thing off because if you take it off too soon and you don't know what you're doing, then you got to retape the whole thing. You don't want to do that. Okay, that looks good. This is right against that. So that gives me the angle I want. So now I can peel the tape off the bottom. Then I'm going to set it up. Not sticking it down, I'm going to set it. Get this to go the way I want it. And then the last stage would be to drop it, like that. Okay? Now do it a couple times. Get used to it. This is probably the only critical part right here. So just take your time. Hold the tape. I'm getting it. Now I'm going to use my left hand because I'm holding that camera there. I'm going to go right on in like this so I get the angle that I want. That piece is hitting in the back. See? I'm into the notch. Now I should be able to just drop it down. There. See how simple that was once you got to understand what I'm doing? Okay. Now we got to set up for hose travel. So inside there, it's hooked onto that bracket. I'm going to push it all the way over. But look at this. I'm holding it so it's taut. I'm pushing it all the way over. I don't want any slack when I get it underneath there. So I want to take the slack out. See? Keep doing that. Push it all the way over. And I want very little slack. Now I marked this one here with a magic marker because I had this in before and I took it back out. So I just made it a little bit easier on myself. But you're going to have to do this, and you may want to mark that. So if you ever take it in and out, you know where to go back with your hose. Here, it's got a little, you got to pick it up and slide the hose in, and you're going to push it as far back as you can. So you lift it up with one finger and slide it in. Push it as far back as it'll go. There you go, I pushed it in. Now I can feed it right out the side, and I'll be putting the other hose bracket right there. Now this hose, and you'll see when you get it, it's got memory. It's like no other hose we've ever used. And it's strictly for this printer, or for the new Canons, like the MG7820s and this. Because remember, there's very little room here. Now why I'm pushing it all the way to the back is because it's very close here, then all of a sudden the back it drops off, so it's got more room back there. So that's why it took me about almost 3-4 months to work on this. I've tried everything, and this seems to be the most successful. Plus I can close my top, which is very nice. Okay, so to continue it, you can come out and you put that other bracket on. Clip on the hose first, it's a lot easier. Then I line it up and I can put it right there. Now this hose up here, when it sticks up a little bit right here, the top may not shut 100%, but it's not important. So don't try to force it, and there's no need to cut the lid, none of that stuff. Just line it up, get it taut, and then lock it down. It's going right across. This is far over. I picked up all the slack, so that's looking good. Now, remember I told you to pair a needle nose? Because you got to grab that print head that's stuck all the way back there. You got to grab it carefully on something and then pull it back so you can get a hold of it. That's why you needed the needle nose. Now watch the way the hose bends. Perfect, all the way over, as far as I can. That's hose travel. You don't have to worry about this. It's not going to interfere with anything. It makes a nice loop. It's all the way to the back. I can go all the way forward, and I can, if I have to, I can get in with the needle nose again. That's what you want. You don't want to pull on that ribbon. You don't want to pull on anything. You just want to get a hold of the thing itself and slide it out. Okay, there's the needle nose. So you see what's happening? It's going back and forth. It's perfect. It really is. That's the way you do hose travel. Now you know it's going to be good. I can put this back up, because if you don't, you leave that down, you're going to get an error code. I pushed it all the way back over. I'm going to make sure that I open up the plugs in the ink tank. I can close this, but before I close it, don't forget, gotta stick these back in there. You just take your time, you snap them back down in there. Here, let me get over here. There, see that? Now I can do it over here. There. Okay, now that's going to close just like that. That closing on the hose right there won't hurt anything. That hose it's an extremely resilient type hose. I mean, you're going to see this hose the best. Only for this, we only use it on the new Canon models because it maintains its memory. Okay, now I can close it down. Now we'll be able to plug it in and turn it on. But before that, remember, you got to open up the little plugs in the back here. Got to open them up. Okay, now the plugs in the very back, you can see where we cut them. That's the isobaric chamber. Do not take them out. And I'm going to repeat this. Do not take them out. So far we've only had one person take them out, and then you've got to balance the system. It can turn into a nightmare. We put that there for a reason. We cut it. But this one has to come out. This one stays in. This one comes out, the air. This is for filling. This is for the air to enter the system. So when you're filling this side, you put the little plug in the vent hole. You have to do that. Follow the instructions. Please read the instructions because it's in there. And that's it. Now you can close it up and protect everything. Just like that. Sits right next to the printer. You're not to raise it or lower it from the printer's base. If you raise it, you're going to flood it. You'll have a mess. You'll have ink all over the place. Don't do that. Okay, now I'm going to go plug everything in and show you what happens. Okay, now I just turned it on. I've got everything opened. Now, before installing the system, it's not needed. It's not needed to prime anything. If you see air in the lines, ignore it. Don't freak out over a little air in the lines, the bubbles, and that's normal. That's just normal. So it'll take a minute. It's going to go through initialization. It's going to go through a whole range of things. Okay, now it's all set up. It's in there. I'm going to do a nozzle check. So let's go over to Setup. Go to Maintenance. I'm going to do one deep cleaning. Oops. Nope. I don't want to do that. I hit the wrong thing. I'm going to alignment. That usually does. You do one alignment. You don't need to do more than one. But now I'm going to let it go through its alignment because I don't want to stop it in the middle. Finishing the alignment page, I just touched the wrong thing to do, but I let it continue. It won't hurt anything, and it's doing its alignment. Normally, you only have to do alignment occasionally. You don't have to do it a lot. That's it. You can't even hear this thing running. You don't even hear. That's going back and forth in there now, and you don't even know it. And we got the lid pretty much closed all the way. Might be open a tiny bit over here because of the hose, but that's it. And in less than what? 10 minutes we installed this system. Getting the bracket, I have to say, may be a little tricky. That's why I said we're going to do that trial till we get used to what we're doing. Then we can stick it down. And getting the hose travel, and that's it. Now all you got to do is make sure you keep ink in the ink tank. Now we're using a premium American-made ink. We've done it 20 years. This is the best ink, and it will not and cannot clog your printhead. That's a fact. Now I just did another one. It will not clog. That I've tested. I've been doing this 20 years. I test this ink every day. I put it through all kinds of stuff. I leave it in a building where the temperature reaches 100 degrees. I leave it there for a week or 2 weeks on end. Come back in, turn it on, run maybe one cleaning, and it works. But I'm going to teach you something about continuous ink systems or ink tanks. When you're running it, you're going to run plain paper, but you're going to set it on high quality. Never, ever on draft or normal. And I'll explain. You actually save money by doing it that way. When you run on draft or normal, you clean the printhead more often, wasting far more ink than if you set it on higher quality. You'll waste less sheets of paper. It's just better all around. Keeps the printhead cooler because these are thermal printheads. The more ink I put into it, the cooler it stays. It's as simple as that. In my 20 years, I've studied this over and over again. And it works every time if you do what I tell you to do. Here's a nozzle check. But there again, if there's air in the lines, pay no attention to it. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. Everything is perfect. That's what you want. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this and open this up. Cartridges are going to come over. Now, any of them are blinking. After time, they'll blink. They'll tell you on this cartridge cannot be replaced or it's slow. You open up this lid, it comes over. It'll stop blinking, turn red, and now that chip is reset. That COC Smart Chips works a lot better than the old ARC chips. Now, I folded up a piece of, you can see I got ink in my fingers here, and I'm going to put it in the little interlock here. Get it in there. Now it's going to think I have the lid down. I'm doing this for a reason. I'm going to print something, and then I want you to watch how nice it goes back and forth. Now, if you hear any noises like thumping or something, you have too much hose out. And if you get error codes, then you have it too short, and it's locks up the printer because it won't travel. So that's it. And you got to be careful, you don't want to leave this plate down because the printer won't work. Now, I'm going to go in here in a minute when it stops. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to run a copy. I put a copy up in there. I'm going to hit copy and now you can watch it come out. Stop. Now I'm going to touch the copy because I got a sheet up in there I want to copy. Press the color. It's going to start up. There's my ink levels. You can see I've been using it. Just like everything here, all those cartridges are checked before we build the system. We build the system right here in the US. We design it, we build it right here in the US. I've been doing that for 20 years. But see how quiet that is? See, if you have it in there right, you don't even know it's in there. That new hose makes a big difference. Big difference. There it's coming out. So go to inkproducts.com. We're the first one in the world to release an ink tank system, or CIS, for this printer. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you if you want to install our ink tank system.